Hey everybody, I want to talk about the practical way to spend your savings in retirement. We hear lots about Monte Carlos and all these fancy softwares out there, but I want to really get to the root of a logical way to calculate how much you can actually spend. The first thing we have to address is we don't know how long we're going to live. If you're trying to spend your last dollar on your last day, you got to come up with some type of a comfort level with how long you think you're going to live. And then I typically say add 5 years to it. We can look at all these charts. This is an outdated chart, but we pulled back a little bit, believe it or not. We hit our peak of life expectancy apparently. But the one thing that I love about this chart is it really does show that if you are married, the longer you live together, the longer at least one of your life expectancies will be. So the statistics are pretty strong on that. If we have each other to support, or if you have people to support yourselves, then you live longer. So the green line here is life expectancy of a married couple, a joint couple. And you can see significant difference in life expectancy. So certainly people are living into the 80s regularly. Over 50% are living well into their 80s. Your confidence rate, you got to look at the family, you got to look at your own health, all those wonderful things. It still doesn't predict it, but people are living certainly into their 90s regularly. So we do need to think about that. And then there's some things you can do about your situation to make you feel more comfortable spending some of the money. So the calculation comes, but you got to set yourself up properly. So let's look at some of those main factors. The first one I always tell people is own your shelter. Don't have a mortgage, don't be renting. I want you to be in a situation where you have the security, the comfort of knowing that you have a shelter over your head with minimal expenses, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and utilities. This helps protect you from inflation. If you're renting, that rent goes up and up and up, and it makes it very difficult to handle the future. If you have a mortgage and you don't have any other choice, then learn about a reverse mortgage. It is an option for people. It allows you to live in that house without that mortgage payment. I talk a lot about long-term care, having a plan for it. That doesn't mean have a product for it, but it does mean working through how you will pay for long-term care. Some people say I'm fine going broke, and whatever Medicaid pays for, I'll take it. But the reality is I don't want you preserving your saving for that big what if later in life. That's not going to help you spend your money and enjoy your retirement. So having a plan, and for some people owning their shelter, that is their plan. You have decent income, you got that nest egg of the equity in your house, well then there's your long-term care plan. As long as your emotions and head and everything understands that, then you don't have to worry about saving all this money and not spending it for later in life. Then there's the maximizing guaranteed income, making sure you're making the right choices on Social Security, your pension, any of those guaranteed income annuities, stuff like that. I want you to make sure that we're making wise decisions there, because the more income you have, the more comfortable you are spending your savings. It's logical, and I see it work all the time. Stabilizing investing strategy. So understand, if you're really trying to spend this money, stable investments produce more money to withdraw. I can show you order of returns. I can show you math on how this works. I can tell you by absolute black and white principles, a turbulent portfolio is a terrible idea when you're trying to spend this money. Okay, so stabilize your investing strategies. Make sure that you're still growing. That helps you keep up with inflation. But big negatives, you got to have a plan for, so you're not pulling from losses. Okay. Next, let's learn about this math. And again, I said the practical way. This is not, oh, with 95% confidence, you're going to make it your whole life. No, this is with absolute confidence. You're going to make it as long as you tell me you're going to make it. So the first part is trying to figure out how long you think you're going to live. And what I said here was years left plus 5 years. So in my example here, I put 30 years of retirement. Okay. So if I'm 65 right now, that means 95. I'm going to run out of money in this math. Okay. And if we lived at 89, 90, 95, anything under 95, we're fine. We don't have to worry about running out of money. Total savings, that ace in the hole of the equity that you have, that's not included there. So this is actual money savings, money that you have ready to go for retirement. It's real simple. You add all your money up, you divide it by how many years you think you need in retirement. 2 million divided by 30 is $66,666. And then you add your guaranteed income to that. So in my example, 60,000 income. So the total income for the year is 126,666. Okay. And what you see here is a very basic calculation. And this is actually on purpose. This does not include growth at all, because every year after this, we're going to do the math again, and it'll tell us how much we can pull out the next year. Okay. And this, what you will see, helps us keep up with inflation, because if our portfolio grows, then we're going to be able to withdraw more every year. That is what's so important. The whole reason we invest this money is to help us grow how much we can withdraw, and that helps us keep up with inflation. So let's see how this works out. We'll do that math again. We found out we could pull 66,000 out, so we take that $2 million. We pull the 66,000 out, and then it grows 5 years through the year. Wonderful. Well, after withdrawing 66,000 and then growing it 5%, we actually still have more money, $2,030,000, and we have 1 year left that we're going to live. So we take 2,030,000 divided by 29, 70,000 we get to withdraw this year. We get to withdraw more. Instead of 66,000, we're now withdrawing 70 plus the 60. Our income for this year is now 130. Then we have a decent year in the market and things go well. Market's up 9.5%. So we take 70,000 out of the 2,030,000, but it grows by 9.5%. Now we got $2,145,000. We only have 28 years left, so we do the math again. We divide it by 28, and look what happened again. Now we get to withdraw even more. We take that money out, we put it in the bank account, we spend it through the year. That's 136,000 worth of income. You see how we're keeping up with inflation? That's how this works. So then year 4, we take that 76,000 from the 2.1 million, and we only grew 2% this year. Not a great year, but we still grew. So we now are down to $2,109,000 divided by 27, because we got 1 year less to live. It gets a little depressing if you really record it every year, but the reality is this is how you're going to know how much you're allowed to pull out, because as this years left gets smaller, you're pulling more out, and it makes sure you run out of money. And anytime you have growth, that helps you keep up with inflation. That's why we do this calculation every year. If you're trying to spend your last dollar on your last day, you don't have heirs, not worried about leaving money to your heirs. Maybe you're just whatever's left over and you want to know some guidelines on what you're allowed to pull out each year. This is the only ironclad way to do this. The only flaw in this is if you live past 95 in my example. Okay? So please understand, this is a very useful calculation for people in retirement. It gives you confidence in how much you're spending, especially if you're using some of that principle. As your portfolio breathes, it goes in and out and in and out. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great. The reality is this keeps you in line. If you have a turbulent portfolio, then this is going to be more turbulent income. If you have a good, solid performing portfolio during good and bad markets, then this is going to consistently give you better income. All right? Very important that you understand this, and very important that you keep making this calculation once a year. You fill that bank account up, and then you move on to the next year. Enjoy it. It helps you understand what you're allowed to spend. It's logical, and it's ironclad. Again, unless you live longer than you think you will. That's why I added 5 years. All right, I hope that helps. This is a great calculation. This helps a lot of the psychology of finance in retirement. So make sure that you do this math. Make sure that you're paying attention to this, not every day, once a year. That's what you're looking for. Do it in November every year. Fill that bank account for the upcoming year. Yourinvestmentcounselor.com if you want to schedule a meet and greet with me or any of our team. FPFEAZ.org is the nonprofit website that I do full education classes. Jump on those Zoom classes. I do them different topics every single month. Full schedule on FPFEAZ.org. Certainly give us a call if we can help out in any way. Smash that like button, share it with your friends, do all those wonderful things, and we'll see you next week.